Hello, hello, and welcome to everyone who's joining. It looks like we are going to have a great group today. The room is filling up, and I'm so glad that you're here as you're connecting to audio. It's really great to see everyone that's joining, and really glad to have you here today for our career corner. And we'll have a really exciting conversation around job search strategy and really setting yourself up for success. So I am super excited to have everyone joining. As you're joining, why don't you let us know in the chat? Let us know in the chat where you're joining from and what the weather is wherever you are in your part of the world. So I will go ahead and get my chat answer ready, but it's great to have everybody today joining. So let me see how I can get everybody. Oh, maybe I can't message everybody, and that's okay. But if you want to let us know, so I'm joining, and it is what did I say the degrees are? Where is it? It's 24 degrees here in Lilongwe in Malawi. So I'd love to know where you're joining from and what the weather's like where you are. If you're able to join, if you're able to put in the chat. And we'll just give another moment or so for the room to fill up. But it is lovely to have you all here. Really excited for our conversation today. Okay, well, I will go ahead and share my screen because it looks like the room has started to fill. And okay, great. Oh, we have some, the chat's disabled. Never. So then I apologize for that. Good to see in the Q&A. You don't have to let me know. So never mind on letting me know. So to go ahead, and I'm just going to pause here for 1 second. Oopsies, one moment here then. I'm going to stop the share. Give me just a second for a quick change. Sorry, thank you. So let me go ahead again. All right. So we now have, okay, it looks like you're able to, may I just get a message in the chat? It looks like maybe the chat has now been activated. Is that right? Yes, cool. Okay. So then I am gonna get back on there. So there we go. Oh, wonderful. Good. Okay, so let me know in the chat. I just like to get a grounding of where folks are joining from. Is it raining in Lagos? I know it's been raining. Okay, it's sunny today. So that's great in Lagos. I know my friends there have been saying that it's been super rainy. Wonderful. So now I know the chat is good to go and working. That's good. All right, so now, can you see my screen? Can you give me a chat thumbs up if you're able to see to make sure we're here today? Good to see you too, Emmanuel. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to our Nexford Career Corner. So here is a brief agenda to guide our call today. And I want this to be a really interactive session. So I know we do a lot of asynchronous things. What I want this to be though is more like a conversation. And I'm gonna be asking for your input in the chat. If you have specific career questions that you want me to address at the end, and you want to make sure that you don't forget or I don't miss it, please be sure to use that Q&A at the bottom. So this is just a little housekeeping. And thank you to everyone for letting me know where you are. We've got Ghana, we've got Lagos, we've got Abuja. Sounds like we've got good weather everywhere, which is always great to hear. We've got Asaba. This is so fun. It's lovely to see all of us joining from all over. And like I said, I'm joining from Malawi, and it's beautiful outside, a little windy and overcast, but nice. So like I said, you all, I can already tell you know how to use the chat. You're good to go there. And then for the Q&A, please use that for specifically questions related to the theme of our webinar today, which is structuring your job search. So as you can see on the screen or the screen share, here are some of the things we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do some brief introductions to myself for those of you who I haven't connected with yet. We'll talk about different types of job searches, how to stay organized, which for me is something that I am always looking for new tips and tricks on, how to leverage your network for your job search, and then we'll have some good time for Q&A. Again, I want this to be a conversation and for you to feel like you're coming out of this webinar with real tools and skills to make a forward momentum in your job search. So please don't be shy with your questions, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Oh, we have Pakistan. This is wonderful. I'm just seeing the chat here as I clicked out of something. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much to everyone for sharing. So before we dive into things, I want to continue to build our Nexford community amongst ourselves. And I'd love to know just like, how are you doing? So on a scale of cat, how are you feeling today? Are you a 1, a 2, a 3, which a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9? Let's see. I need to take another look at this picture here. What am I? I think I'm probably a 3, even though it's a little terrifying. Yeah. Kevin, you and I are the same. We're both feeling the 3, which I guess means that we're feeling good and happy. Olawole is a 6. Oh no, how do we get you out of 6? That seems a little. Oh no, Isoken. Okay, you're feeling a little sleepy. We've got some other 3s, a 2. Okay. Somebody maybe took something from you, Philip. I don't know who took what, but it looks like you're trying to get it back. Okay, Dami Lola's a 5, which is great. I love these. I do feel like these images really capture a lot of emotions. So Emmanuel's feeling a 9. Okay, we got a little sleepy here. Maybe Kemi's might be a 3, maybe not. As long as nobody is 7 or 1, I think we're good. So just let's, if anyone is a 7 or 1, message me privately and let's connect after the call, okay? That's great. So thanks everyone for letting me know. So next, I want to do some brief introductions. I've just jumped into this call. My name is Jennifer Bangura, and I'm Nexford University's Director of Career Innovation. And what that means is it's a few different things. And you are probably familiar with all of the things I'm going to mention, but I just want to reinforce it for you so that you're aware, of what's available to you and how I'm connected to it. So first, I work on our employer engagement strategy. So that means identifying companies that are excited to connect with Nexford learners and graduates to either showcase the work that they're doing, to make sure that some exciting and innovative companies that are out there who are potentially interested in hiring you, and also to join us for different webinars. So some of the companies that are part of this include Wasoko, which was recently named by the Financial Times as Africa's fastest growing company. We have Identity Pass, which is a great fraud detection startup. We have, I have to share the list after, and we'll share this in the follow-up, but those are companies I'm constantly reaching out and connecting with leaders, HR leaders and hiring managers at companies who are excited about Nexford, and there are a lot. Next, we have the Global Grid, which is our mentorship initiative. And I know some of you have attended our webinars, but we're connecting with experts and thought leaders from around the world who are reflecting our learners and your experiences, and also just giving insights and broadening our horizons. And then finally, what brings me here today for this webinar? So our career development for our learners and alumni. So of course, as you all know, we have Localized, which is a fantastic platform that has constant webinars and sessions that you can join to continue to sharpen your career skills. So they have webinars on if you want to be a project manager, and giving insights from people from like Microsoft and Google, Facebook, Meta. So if you haven't checked out Localized, please be sure to do so, because they have a lot of really great resources. And then, hosting sessions like this so that I can connect directly with our learners and make sure that we're providing you the career support that you need to either pivot and promote in your own career. My background is in online higher ed, workforce development, and career services. So I'm originally from the US, most recently was in Washington, DC for about a decade, and then have just relocated with my family to Malawi in Southern Africa, where I'm excited to continue to support our Nexford learners and community. So would love to kick off talking about the different types of job searches that are out there. Again, you all might be in, I'm sure that all of you are in different places in your career. Some of you might be starting out, some of you are more seasoned and you've been in your career for a number of years. And so there are really three types of job searches that we typically see. The first is a proactive job search. So that means that you are proactively reaching out, looking for open roles. You're thinking about your long-term career development. Typically, this is going to be like a 6-month strategy. And it's ideal for people who are recent graduates, you're either career changers, or you're someone who maybe has taken time away from work and you're getting back into it. So this is one where you're really taking ownership over your search. And the goal here is to find opportunities before they're posted either on traditional job searches. So you are proactively targeting and connecting with your employers of interest rather than simply applying to a job that, job posting and job description that you see online, which is more of the reactive. So this strategy, the proactive search, is really centered on building relationships, networking, having informational interviews, which means that you are reaching out to people who have either the job that you would like to have or who are working at a company that you would like to work at. And you're having a conversation of like, tell me more, what can I do to have a job like you have? So you're really trying to stay ahead of the competition in a proactive job search. Again, rather than just simply putting your resume out there and hoping that somebody sees it or hoping someone stumbles on your LinkedIn profile and recruits you. So the next job search is a reactive one. And this one is more focused on the immediate. And it's probably what a lot of people do because that's kind of how we've been conditioned to think what is most appropriate. Like, oh, I lost my job, or, oh, I need to change jobs for some reason. Oh, I have a bad job situation that I need to get out of. These are all reactive. So this is where you are seeing a job posting online, you click in to apply, and you cross your fingers probably and hope that something good happens. So this can be effective, but there are a few reasons why it shouldn't be your primary type of job search that you pursue. So if you've ever applied to a job on LinkedIn, you'll see there's that easy apply button. Has anyone, you can throw a yes in the chat. Have you seen that easy apply job option on LinkedIn? Yes, so you can see it, yeah. So and then sometimes people get discouraged because they see like, okay, 200 applicants have already applied, maybe more, 300. And you think, oh, like I don't have a chance. Look at all these other people who have applied already. If you have the option to apply through the website, I recommend you do that because applying on that easy apply doesn't allow you to always fill in all the information that you can. Two, on the level of effort that people are putting into their job application, from 0 being no effort to 5 being I'm customizing my resume, I'm customizing my cover letter, I'm being thoughtful about reaching out to the hiring manager. From 0 to 5, how much effort does it take to just click easy apply on LinkedIn and submit your application? Do you think it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? And you can let me know in the chat. So 2. Okay, Kingsley's giving me a 2, a 3. too. I would wager to say that applying through Easy Apply on LinkedIn is like a 0 or a 0.5 level. I'll give it a 0.5 level of effort, maybe a 1. Because you are not really putting in, it says it wants you to do easy apply. And this is, again, the reactive job search. I'm just going ahead, I'm submitting a resume. I'm not really putting in much effort. If you are not in a pressing need for a job, that might be a good strategy for you. Maybe you see an interesting role and you think, you know what, I'm happy in my current role. Maybe I don't really want that job. So I'll throw my hat in the ring. And if I hear back from a recruiter, that's fine. For roles that you really want, or if you are in a real more urgent need for a job, I'm going to encourage you to apply some different strategies than having this reactive, just like submitting a quick application, because again, hundreds if not thousands of people are going to be putting in that same level of effort, and it really doesn't take that much more to stand out from the rest. And don't worry, by the end of the session, you're going to have some of those strategies and ways to do that. So the key to leading a successful immediate job search is to not fall into the trap of quantity over quality. This is a mistake that recruiters and employers see job search seekers make a lot of the time. They create a generic resume and then they send it out to whatever position comes their way. Sometimes, people, I hear from job seekers all the time, they're like, oh, I've applied to 50 jobs last week, but I haven't heard anything. And you're like, well, then you need to reassess your approach because something is not working. If that, and oftentimes too, I'll hear from students saying, I applied to like 3 or 4 roles at this one company because I really want to, at once. Right? On the back end, a recruiter can see Jennifer submitted an application for this role and this role and this role. And if they're, across different departments, I see you use the same resume, maybe the same cover letter. I know you're not really putting in effort, and a recruiter can see that on the back end. So what's important here is when using this reactive job search strategy is to think about how you can really customize your application materials to make sure that your resume is getting in front of your employer and standing out. So third, we have this internal job search. And maybe, what we hear from a lot of people, or what you can hear from folks is they've been in their role for a year, 2 years, maybe 3, and they love their company, but they have maybe reached the limit of what they can contribute or what they've learned in their current role. And so you might think, okay, well, let me look for a job, maybe a similar job or similar function outside of my company so I can grow and learn new things. And I would encourage you to now think about looking internal to your own company. So oftentimes, it can be a lot easier to make a transition into another department. You have a lot of institutional knowledge to share, a lot of which means that you understand how your company functions. You are able to connect the dots a lot more quickly than somebody who's just entering the organization because that Amadou, who is in finance, or Aissatou in marketing, how to connect to those certain people and processes already. So if an internal job search is something that you're interested in, I would encourage you to start thinking about conversations you could have with people in different departments. And maybe they're people that you're already interacting with on a regular basis, but you want to take the time to say, actually, I'd really like to better understand what you do and maybe the specific skills that you have built so that I could either start learning those skills, I could take a course, I could do a LinkedIn Learning, so that I can build that skill set and perhaps be competitive for an open role in your own company. So those are just a few of the 3 main types of job searches that we typically see. I'd love to know in the chat, after explaining these 3, where do you find yourself? Are you in a proactive job search? Is it more reactive? Or are you considering an internal, if you're comfortable sharing? Okay, so we have some proactive. That's great, reaching out to your network and building relationships with different folks. And, at times we can we might find ourselves, I've been in reactive job searches, I've been in proactive, I've been in a little bit of a mix. Maybe you are in a proactive job search and you're also exploring internal opportunities. There are lots of possibilities. Yeah, and it's okay. We have something to learn from all of them. So that's great. Thank you to those of you who've shared. So next, I have what I think can be some transformative, I hope, advice on how to stay organized in your job search. So keeping all of the information together can be really challenging. Like remembering what companies am I interested in? What jobs do I want to apply to? Who am I networking with? And so I wanted to try and break it down into a simple way to really think about this. That's great. And so I just want to pause for a moment because I saw a great chat from one of our participants that someone has a current job, but they're thinking that next year it's going to be proactive. So we'll go back just a moment. And that is really interesting because I think the best time to look for a job is when you already have one, which of course is, that sounds easy enough, but or if you're employed, the best time to look is when you are happy in your role, because you do not want to get to a place, or we want to try to avoid getting to that dreaded, I really don't like my job and I need to get out urgently, because that doesn't feel great. And hopefully, again, with some of the tools and strategies that we're going to talk about today, you're going to be equipped with the ability to have that, prepare for a longer term job search. Because also think about it, you might be in an immediate job search right now, but we are building the muscles and the knowledge to carry us throughout our whole careers. So you can think about this as more of a long-term strategy than just okay, I need to find a job today, but how can I be building processes and strategies, again, that are going to help me on a more long-term basis. So first are thinking about the people that you want to connect with. So who are you reaching out to for support, for your insights, for your expertise? Are you connecting? Again, sometimes this is where it's a quality, not a quantity game. You don't need to go out now. And I think when I speak with some learners, they are like, oh man, I need to go add 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. It's not about connecting with everybody. It's about connecting with the right people for you. And this is, again, where it can be exciting and then also a little overwhelming but who do I connect with? And I can't tell you, I can't look at you and say, here are the 5 people that I think you should connect with. But what I would love to be able to do is to, say, okay, tell me more about what types of roles that you're interested in pursuing. Tell me more about the types of industries, the types of companies. And then from there, you can kind of reverse engineer to identify the people able to really help you in your targeted job search. Of course, you have your Nexford community. I love starting out these webinars with asking people where they're based, because one, you might find somebody who, of course, is in your same city, but you might find somebody and say like, oh, well, I'm based in Lagos, but I would love to be living in Accra. How can I try and think about making that transition? And if someone who's based there, maybe I want to connect with them and hear more about what their experience is like. So, thinking about your immediate surroundings, your friends and family is a great place to start. Next, of course, leveraging your Nexford community with your other classmates and your, folks who are maybe you'll see that are in your classes or that you're seeing on LinkedIn. And then finally, LinkedIn. And this is, again, where it's great to think about building it doesn't have to be a connection. You can just follow people. And I'm going to share a tool with you in a moment where you can actually track out. I want to see, I might need to stop sharing for a moment so I can get the link. But keeping track of all of these folks, what I recommend, honestly, make a Google sheet, have the name of somebody, the company they work at, maybe a LinkedIn URL, and can you dedicate 10 minutes a day to add, 2 or 3 people per day, or maybe you want to set a 30-minute block and say, okay, I'm going to add 15 people who I think could really help my job search. And again, maybe you're seeing them on LinkedIn, maybe you're reading an article about them and want to make sure you file it away so that you know to follow them on LinkedIn or follow up and try and connect with them. There are lots of different ways that you can do this. But really what I want this to be is a prompt for you to think about the different spheres of influence, in your life. And I'll share, yes, so that's it, that people. So places, and this is where I'm going to stop sharing for one moment. And I'm going to, because I have a link here that I want to connect to. All right, thanks for your patience. Okay, great. So places, what companies are you excited about? What industries are appealing to you? Sometimes I'll speak with people and they'll say to me, you know what, I will do anything and I'll work anywhere. And you think that that's helpful because you're like, I'm open, I promise I'll do anything. When really it's a little bit like if you're talking to somebody and you're having a networking conversation and they say, well, tell me about the type of work that you'd like to do. If you say to them, I'll do anything, they're not going to be able to tell you a company to look at. They're not going to be able to tell you a person to reach out to. It's going to be very challenging for them to help you. So you need to really hone your own interests and narrative and story. And maybe it's coming from a course that you've taken that really sparked something that you're like, oh, I'd never thought about that as a career before. And so you say, well, I just took this course in digital marketing as part of my MBA, and I hadn't considered that as a career path before, but now I'm really excited about the possibilities, and that can be really helpful for somebody because they might think, oh, great, you know what, actually, I've got to connect you with this friend of mine who runs a digital marketing agency or works for one, or is looking for somebody who can help them. So being specific about the places that you want to work can be really essential for yourself and when you're wanting other people to help you. So, and I just listed here, you want to brainstorm the specific roles and functions that you want to target. You should make a list of the companies that you want to work for. And then of course, consider your geography and where you want to work or where you'd be willing to work. And this is where, again, it can get overwhelming. Like, oh, there's thousands of places and things I could do. And get ready for your mind to be amazed. Just joking. Oh, you know what? I think some panelists, I might have to share it, and then my colleagues might need to share it for me because I don't know I don't think my chat can go to everybody. So I don't know if Roshana, if you're able to share that would be wonderful. Because for me, it's just showing up that I'm sending the chat to us. So what we'll ultimately be sharing in the chat is a link to this job search planner, and I'm linking the source here. So this is a Google Doc. And thank you so much to Roshan for sharing that. So you can click in this yourself and make a copy. It's a non-editable version, and you can click on there. There's a link in there of making a copy, or you can go file, make a copy if you have Gmail. I love this job search planner because to me, it really condenses the essential components of your job search into one sheet. And they even give you another tab with an example of what it looks like when you filled it out. So here, this is where you are going to list your top 5 roles and functions in those, on the left-hand side. On the right, you have industries. So maybe the financial sector, maybe it's pharmaceuticals, healthcare. Look on LinkedIn. You can Google LinkedIn industries if you're like, I don't even know where to start. So it really puts it into a bite-sized pieces. Can you list 5 job functions that you'd be interested in pursuing and 5 industries? And then below, it prompts you, think about some companies that fit those needs. And again, this is just really helpful to keep all of your information in one place. And then I love this of people will often ask, like, how much time should I spend in my job search? And so here they are giving you an equation, a calculation for, I have 10 hours a week that I'm willing to dedicate. And so then it breaks it down, like how much time you should spend on different facets of your job search: networking, applying to jobs, searching for roles, following up with people. So, and then two, you can enter your target start date. And so we have a great question that came in of, what do you call the job type of having your own business? And that is being an entrepreneur. And that too, I mean, when you are starting your own business, a lot of the elements of a job search can still apply to how you start your business, because you are going to be looking for customers, you're going to be looking for people to support and lift up your business, and you want to be targeting the right people. And so you can do this, again, I mean, LinkedIn is where I would spend a vast majority of my time, in addition to identifying specific communities. So you might, find, and depending on where you're living, ask other people, crowdsource that information, of, is there a meetup community for entrepreneurs in the fashion space or in the healthcare space? There's undoubtedly a Slack group, or a LinkedIn group, or some sort of community, for whatever it is that you're trying to build. And oftentimes I encourage people to crowdsource that information by making a post on LinkedIn, asking friends or family, putting it in a WhatsApp message. Really interesting. And yes, I mean, I just think when you check out Teal and you go to the website, it's tealhq.com, and we'll share links to all of these things in our follow-up as well. So it's going to have, I hesitate to say transformative, but for me, these tools have been truly transformative, and I've seen them work wonders for folks who really put in the time to make the most of them. So this is like key to organization. And now you can similarly create another tab in your Google Sheet or your Excel for the people. So this is more on the jobs and industries and companies, but you can also create just another tab that has the folks and people who can support you. And I'll say too, apologies, but for the Teal, this is their whole product. I recommend too, and it's totally free. So no, I have no kickback. There's no connection there. I'd love to explore a partnership with them. But what really in the meantime is that checking out tealhq.com, and they have a job search tracker. So you can actually put links into the specific jobs that you're applying for, because this is where people too, I'm like, tell me about the jobs you've applied for. And they're like, yeah, I applied to 100 jobs. And I'm like, how are you keeping track of 100 jobs? Like, how are you following up with the hiring manager, or, do this and that? One, I think that when people say that they've applied to 100 jobs, I'm like, it's too many within a week or a month. But two, you really need to stay on top of where that application is sitting. And Teal is going to help you do that. There's also a website, it's called Hunter, Huntr, that does the same thing, but you just put in a link to the job that you've applied for, and it tells you if the job is still open. It prompts you to follow up with the role, to identify the hiring manager on LinkedIn, things like that. Really stellar tool for staying organized in your job search. So next, we have things. So we've talked about people, building your network, building relationships, identifying those people on LinkedIn, connecting with them if you want, personalizing you want to personalize outreach, people, places. So that's the companies that you want to work for. And now things. Now I put it in this order because we always say people, places, things, but really, if I could switch it, I would say things, people, places. Because a job search ultimately does start with your career materials. So typically that means your CV or your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and then cover letters when they're required. And I like to start with these materials because it helps you make sure that from the beginning that you are clear on what you're looking for. And first, updating these materials really helps you clarify what the types of roles that you want to be pursuing. But then also, so it's clarifying for yourself, and then next clarifying for the people who are going to be reviewing those. Now, what I hear, and especially with like a LinkedIn profile, you might be applying to digital marketing roles, product manager. You might have a lot of different things that you're interested in, and that's okay. But probably you have a few common threads in your job search or in your focus, or at least I would encourage you to narrow it down to at least 3 to 5 types of roles or focus of your job search. And that can be articulated even in your headline. So really, I think the best place to start with a LinkedIn profile, of course, you want to have a good picture, but making sure that your headline is articulating what you care about and the type of work you either have or would like to have. Now, when I say would like to have, I mean within realistic reach. So I'm not going to put in my headline, future astronaut. I have no physics background except from high school physics, which went okay, but I would say maybe not great. Think realistically. Like, so if I am taking a digital marketing course or certificate, or that's the concentration of my MBA, but maybe I haven't had a ton of experience in it yet, I can still put that digital marketing is something I'm interested in. So I could put digital marketing or in my headline. But again, just think about the 3 to 5 words that you want people to immediately associate with you. Start there in your headline. We're going to share a link to this presentation. It has a link to my LinkedIn URL. I'm not saying mine is the perfect example of what yours should be, but I think it pretty succinctly articulates what I am interested in and what I care about. And I hope yours will too. And I have links in here that you'll be able to click on in the PDF we share with templates for your resume and CV. I recommend using JobScan, which is a fabulous free tool, up to 5, I think, uses maybe a month, where you upload a copy of your resume, you upload the job description, and it's scanning to make sure that you're, if they're asking for X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z is in your resume. For your LinkedIn profile, I've got a link to an article here on ways to quickly and easily optimize yours. And then some tips on building great cover letters. So finally, and then I'm going to stop this. I'll stop my presentation because we've reached the end of the content side, and I want to focus on your specific job search and career related questions. But is leveraging your network for your job search. So again, maybe you're going to use that spreadsheet that we shared a link to, but if you could make a list of 10 people that you could turn to for your job search today, who would you put? Who can you turn to? And if you're coming up short, if you're like, well, I only have a couple of people, that's okay. This is where you can turn to those 1 or 2 people. And when you're having informational interviews, the best question you can ask at the end is, who else do you think I should talk to? So even if you just have 1 person that you could put on your list that could support you in your job search now, that's one person who's going to be able to give you insight and input on recommending 1 other person, or maybe they know 2 people of, me, what I'm interested in. Who do you think I should be talking to? I'm really excited about pursuing this type of specific role. Is there someone that you think I could talk to? And they'll say, yes, I have a cousin, I have a friend, I have another relative. So even just asking that 1 question helps other people help you better. Then you might think about, well, who do I want to be able to turn to? So this is more of that future focused approach of, okay, maybe I don't have this person and that person in my network yet, but here are the types of people that I would like to. And this is where it's really helpful, again, that you have that organized spreadsheet or job search of the companies that you're wanting to target and the types of roles, and where you can turn again to LinkedIn and you can do a search for digital marketing, and you can filter for people who live near you, or who even filter for people who work at the company that you want to work at. So I recommend playing around with that, put in that top search bar on LinkedIn. And I think I can do that. If we have time, I will show you, I think I'll just do that in one moment. So next, conferences and webinars. And I just gave a presentation or like a quick interview on how, you might see all the time, like people who are going to now these cool conferences in different cities around the world. And at least, or maybe I'm projecting how I feel like, oh, I wish I could go to that conference. And yet, even if you can't go to a conference, if you see a website for one that you're really excited about, maybe you're interested in crypto or fintech or insert the industry, it doesn't matter. They often will post a list of the speakers and presenters, and sometimes the attendees who are going to that conference because they want to encourage networking in their own community. You can take advantage of that list just as much as somebody who is attending in person. So I strongly encourage you, the next time you see a conference or a webinar, go ahead and look at the speaker list. You can copy that name, put it on LinkedIn. They might even have a direct link to their LinkedIn URL. Go ahead and follow them or connect with them and say, when you're connecting, always personalize. Hi, Amadou, I guess I like the name Amadou. Hi, Amadou. Great to see that you'll be speaking at the upcoming fintech event in Kigali. I wish I could go. Looking forward to following your insights here on LinkedIn. It's showing like, that this is how you found the person. You saw that they're a speaker at a certain event, and then you're still going to actually get to learn from their insights because now they're posting on LinkedIn. It's going to show up in your feed, or maybe you even can just follow them and continue to learn from people who are in, your industry, your target industry, or the one that you're already in. And finally, if you're wanting to leverage your network again, I love following the blog posts on TechCrunch, or you might have other blogs that you use. Following them, when somebody raises $2 million, $5 million, $10 million for their company, what do you think? And please put it in the chat. When people are raising money for a startup or a company, what do you think that the largest proportion of that money is going toward? We'll have this be a guess. If anyone wants to put in the chat, what do you think that money is going toward when companies are raising money? Scale up, absolutely. And how do they scale up? They scale up oftentimes, certainly with technology, but with people. So they're going to be putting money into hiring. So whenever I see a company on TechCrunch who just raised $15, $20 million, my first thought is, wow, they're about to scale up and they're about to hire a lot of people. And who do they want to hire? You. So what you should do in that case is put them on your radar, add that company into your spreadsheet. Maybe you're going to put a link to the TechCrunch or the blog post article that you saw about them to remind you of where you learned about them. Start reaching out to the people on LinkedIn, to their recruiters, their hiring managers. You don't have to connect with everybody at the company. And again, now on LinkedIn, it makes it super easy. You can just follow somebody. They are going to start to post roles that you might be qualified for. So that's one way that you can leverage your network. So I will go ahead and stop sharing there. I'm going to take a look at the Q&A and see if we have any job search related questions. And then I'd love to go ahead and just put up on, I'll share my screen to show you what I mean, because sometimes for LinkedIn, it's a little bit easier to show rather than tell on the search side. So I'll continue. Oh, look at this. I'll give that a little heart. People getting wild here on LinkedIn. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And we have some lovely Nexford news here. So may I see in the chat, are y'all able to see my screen? Can I just get a thumbs up or a yes? Let me make sure we're all good to go. So I'm going to pretend, and again, I'm going to choose, thank you so much, that I, like I said, I live in Malawi, and maybe I want to find a digital marketing role. So I will put this here. I'll put digital marketing in quotes at the top. I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And then it's going to ask me, Do I want to see digital marketing show up for posts, companies, people, jobs, groups, schools, all of these different filters? What I would really like is people. And so I put in that, I get almost, you can see here almost 6 million results, right? Of people who have digital marketing in their profile. So if you are targeting different roles, you want to be known for digital, especially digital marketing, those things need to be in your profile. And another trick is that when recruiters are looking for people to work for their company, on the back end, they can tell whether you're following the company or not. So if you, and sometimes they'll do that as an easy way of like people who are a warm intro to the company. They want to make sure that you're already interested and are aware of them. So if you have a company in your spreadsheet, make sure that you follow them on LinkedIn, because that's one way that recruiters can find you. So I might too say, okay, I might have first degree connections. Let me click on second degree. And these are people who we have someone in common that they could maybe introduce me to, or they're going to be more likely to accept your connection request if you have somebody in common. And then here, I haven't done this, so I should have probably done it before, but let's see if I have anyone in Malawi, where I'm living, that has digital marketing. Hopefully. Fabulous. Look at this. So I have 46 people, and this is actually a really wonderful list that I could turn to of all of these folks who are working in digital marketing, who we have somebody in common on LinkedIn, and they live here in Malawi. Well, what I would do in this instance is I'm going to click into their profile and I would personalize and say, hey, person name, name, it's great to see your work in digital marketing at this company and to see our shared connection. I would love to connect here. I can customize that message and I could send it out to all 45 or 46 of these people within 20 or 30 minutes, right? And then maybe not all of them are going to accept my connection request, but maybe maybe many of them will. So that's my super fast, quick and dirty on leveraging LinkedIn. And so I see some great questions here, some in the chat. So one is, if an organization advertises for a job using the LinkedIn apply, what's the best way to apply aside the easy apply, assuming no email was provided? So thank you for that really good question. What I would do is, if they have posted it on LinkedIn, it's very likely that they've also posted it on their company website. So I want to see that that role is on LinkedIn Easy Apply. Click in, go to the website, go to the careers page, and then you will see probably another way to apply, and it might allow you to include a cover letter or upload different materials. And then that brings me to Victor's question, which is, do we have a dedicated format of a cover letter that we should follow? And in our follow-up email that we'll share, I'm going to share a link for cover letter templates that you can adapt for your use. If a company, sometimes a company will be very clear on their page, cover letter optional, or they might not even ask for it, which is, I think, nice. But if they say, sometimes though, they're very explicit and they say, we actually read cover letters and we would like you to submit one. In that case, you can have a standard cover letter template that you're adapting for each of the roles you're applying for. But you really want to customize it for each role. And I don't mean that you're spending another hour, 2 hours writing responses. Because again, you'll see in this template, it really has a great way that you can outline some of your core skills that are going to be transferable no matter which job that you're applying to. Thank you. And then we had a +1 for that question of how can someone, when you see the links to these different documents, it has a lot more specific steps and details. And maybe this is good feedback that we need a whole nother session just dedicated to career materials. And so someone too says, unfortunately, when they want to apply for a job, they see that 300 people have applied for a job in 19 minutes. That can be discouraging, but at the same time, when I see that happening, I know that people are not taking any time to customize their materials, so that I know if I spend 30 minutes or an hour updating my resume, updating my cover letter, I've already, gone above and beyond 90% of the other candidates because they're just doing that easy apply and not putting in any effort. Whereas I'm taking the time to really read the job description, maybe putting it through job scan to make sure that my resume is reflecting the different words that they're seeing. And my power has just gone out, which is okay. But yes, we will be sharing all the links at the end of the call, excuse me, in our follow-up email. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to look at the Q&A here. So career services, how you contact them, I will encourage you to go toward localized and to check out the different, they have sessions on a weekly basis. So we are able to offer, more monthly career corner kind of conversations. But if you are wanting an ongoing, they are doing resume reviews, you can do that through localized. So if you don't have that resource in front of you, we will include a link to it in our follow-up as well. And it's okay. Again, we'll share the whole recording for this call, links to all the documents, a copy of the presentation. So you're going to have, link to that spreadsheet document that we shared. So you have everything available to you afterwards. And let me just like that. Yes. So great. And so I think that I've covered all of the career related questions that are in the Q&A. For other questions related to accreditation, we encourage you to, reach out to your success advisor who will have the appropriate response that we can share with that. But so we have some encouragement here from Victor of don't stop applying, continue applying, optimize your resume and your LinkedIn profile. And I will say in all of our job searches, we oftentimes need a healthy dose, and I can tell all of you are open to receiving this advice because you have made the time to be here for this career corner. But we oftentimes need a healthy dose of self-awareness. Sometimes, if we're like Albert Einstein says, when you're applying, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, it's the definition of insanity. So if you are finding that you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're using the same resume, you're using the same approach and technique, and you're not getting results, there can be a lot of different factors that impact that, maybe not enough of the right jobs and so on and so forth. And maybe it's time to reach out to somebody and ask for help. That could be someone else in your class who you've seen has had success in getting a role. Hey, do you have 20 or 30 minutes to talk with me about strategies that you've used? That could be going to localized and making sure that you're taking advantage of all of the amazing career support that they have within there. There are lots of different tips and tricks. Maybe it means I'm loving seeing people's LinkedIn posts where they ask your community for help. Hi, everybody. It's hard to be vulnerable, but LinkedIn loves it. If you don't currently have a job, this can be great because if you're employed, you don't want your employer to see on LinkedIn you're posting looking for a new one. But you can make a post and say, hey, I would welcome input and advice on different ways that I can move my job search forward. Here are the specific things I'm looking for. Those are just some opportunities there. So it says, so okay. Okay, I'm so sorry, I didn't see this. So why do companies abroad ask me if I'm legally permitted to work in that country, even though I'm applying for remote positions? So this is a good question. And it's one that, I've experienced personally when I was moving to Malawi and wanting to find a job that I could do from here remotely. Companies, if you're working in a country as an employee, and not a contractor or consultant, they are going to be legally required to abide by whatever tax laws exist in that country. And so they would have to operate, through a payroll company or so on and so forth. We are pulling together some more resources on truly global remote companies that are hiring people from anywhere. And in the meantime, some roles are remote, but only within that country because that company is only registered to work or, hire people in that country. But I think we need to have a whole career corner just on remote work, and we have that in the works. So that'll be forthcoming for one of our upcoming sessions. And thank you for asking, making a note of it here. Let's see, I think I'll just go ahead and check the Q&A. I think we're good on the career related ones. And yeah, so I want to say thank you to everybody for making time for this call. We had what a wonderful attendance. I'm so happy to see everybody that made the time to come out. We are loving these career corners and the opportunity to connect with our Nexford learners and alumni. And really hope that you'll continue to make the time and space to join. We are going to, like I said, share a follow-up with all the materials and resources that we've referenced so you can have them at your fingertips. You'll get a survey, and we would really welcome your feedback there, because the only way we can continue to improve and get better is by receiving constructive feedback from you. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever this webinar finds you. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. I hope everyone, I should have pulled up the cat image again of how you're feeling now. But thank you so much to everyone who's joined us, and I'll look forward to seeing you. We have a link out, and I think we'll share a link to it in our follow-up. But next week, we have a webinar with one of our mentors from the Global Grid on landing the tools and skills that you need for landing a career in social impact. So please be sure to mark your calendars for that. I think it's July 28th. So I think that's next Thursday. And I hope I'll see you there. And in the meantime, take care and talk to you soon.